TG Geeks, episode 373, April 11th, 2022. Aliens and the Gays. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, it's summer now, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, and I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from it's going to soon be the surface of the sun again here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, and let's get on with it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we have Mark Bessenger. He is a writer, director, and filmmaker of multiple films. We're going to talk about a new series that he has coming up, and just talk to him generally about how he got into filmmaking and a little Doctor Who thrown in there.
Yes.
Then we have our birthday shout outs and our featured podcast of the week, and we got some feedback. As always, thank you to everybody that gives us feedback, and I want to say that up front so that those that quit listening at some point in the episode get to hear that we really do appreciate
it. Yes,
the feedback. Have our shout outs in the second segment. If we have time, we have a topic to chat about, and then we have our wacky weekly recap and our regular shout outs to end the episode. So let's get on talking to Mark. And this time we welcome to our show Mark Bessenger, who is writer-director of The Last Straight Man, Bite Marks, and Ninja Zombie, and he has a new project that we're going to talk about. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah. So tell us in just kind of a nutshell, as if you're going elevator pitch of your life and how you got into filmmaking and all of the interesting stuff that we were talking before the show.
Well, when I was a little kid, I was snooping through the hall closet in our house, and I came across my mother's old Super 8 movie camera.
Ooh.
And so she bought me a couple cartridges of film, and I started doing little home movies, shooting little stories with my cousins and stuff like that. And then as I grew older, it just sparked something in me. And as I grew older, I just decided that this was something I really liked doing, and I wanted to learn more about it. And I went to college at Indiana University and got my bachelor's in English, specializing in creative writing. And then from there I went to Columbia College, Chicago. I got my master's in filmmaking, specializing in screenwriting. So I decided at that point I wanted to try and give it a shot and maybe make it some kind of a career. I shot a couple feature films, and then I moved out to California and have been pursuing it ever since.
Wow, that is incredible. I was going to say, back in the day, there were very few film programs, and you were lucky to find one and to get into that. And
yeah, I mean, not without going to not UCLA, but USC or NYU or something like that.
Yeah. So tell it. You've done several of these films that I mentioned: The Last Straight Man, Bite Marks, Ninja Zombie. They all seemed, except for The Last Straight Man, all seem to be in that horror genre. So
unless there's something about The Last Straight Man we
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
I admittedly, I've heard of that movie. The problem is
it's
that
a horror. There's one last straight man.
which maybe that's the whole point of it. I mean, and I apologize for the. I keep hearing about it, and I keep thinking I need to see this, and then shiny object, and then it drops off my radar, and I deeply apologize. I've been meaning to watch it, but I mean, is that a foray into horror comedy? By the way, I'm not to take us away from your present
No, I'm
project.
afraid it's a regular old. It's a romantic drama.
Aha.
Okay.
Cool. And then
The second time I've done it, I did my first feature was Ninja Zombie, and then I did a romantic drama after that called Rhapsody, and then I moved to California, and that's when I did Bite Marks, and then Last Straight Man, and then another kind of just a LGBT indie film called Fixations, which is it's an anthology, basically, of actors doing monologues to the camera, dramatic monologues, and they're very and those are all mixed in a sorted bag. There's drama, there's comedy, we have one horror episode in there, so that's just like a little mixture of everything.
Oh, cool, interesting. But we're actually here to talk about something that is just brand new. We're talking to you on Saturday, but it released last night on HereTV. So tell us what is this thing that you started here? You started something.
I did. Well, I contacted HereTV and asked if they'd be interested in my pitching them some ideas, and they said yes. So I pitched them a few projects, and then the one they picked, we went back and forth about it, and it kind of, I wanted to do like another anthology series where like every episode would be a completely different story with completely different characters, and completely different genres, and almost kind of like a gay Twilight Zone kind of thing, or a gay, what was that HBO series, Red Shoe Diaries, or something like that. And then as we went back and forth with Here on this, it kind of morphed into this show about gay men encountering aliens. And the same parameters were there. I mean, every episode can be something different characters, different story, different genres. This first one that premiered last night is a horror. Is horror themed. The next one we're going to do is a comedy. The one after that is a kind of a romantic drama. So I still get to play. The show is within the parameters of gay men encountering aliens, some kind of alien encounter. I basically get to play. The boundaries are pretty wide open. It can be whatever I want it to be. In any genre I want it to be, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, I saw your quote that think of you as the gay Rod Serling. And this is the new Twilight Zone, gay Twilight Zone.
The Gaylight Zone.
The Gaylight Zone, yeah. That would have been a good title.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. So we saw the trailer, which was like a little 30-second trailer. We didn't watch the episode. We didn't have time this morning. We had opera last night, so it was we had only a limited time this morning, so we didn't watch the first episode. But it looked fascinating, and the premise was these. Tell us the premise of this first episode for Gayliens.
Well, the first episode is about. It's about two high school boys on the verge of graduating from high school. They're two seniors, and they don't. One of them wants to go into like a NASA space program, and that's what he wants his future to be. The other one really he feels like he has no future. He's definitely blue collar. He doesn't believe he has any real options open to him. and he's kind of made peace with that. So these two young men meet, and they decide to go for a drive, and they end up, now they're both closeted, and they end up in Lover's Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're parking, they come out to each other. They start, having a good time together, and suddenly they are bombarded by beams of light from above, a mysterious man in black who warns them they should leave, and then ultimately they have an encounter with the fabled Mothman.
Oh, my.
Oh, okay. That certainly took us to a new direction.
Yeah. So this is that sounds fascinating. And the two photos of the two young men that you posted on Twitter are very nice-looking young men, I will say. And
well, yeah, I like to look at nice-looking things.
Well, don't we all? we're just we're
that's
married.
What I'm counting on.
Yeah, we're married. We're not dead.
No, and Keith and I are in our 60s, and you reach a point where one of your big thrills becomes voyeurism. I just said
Yes.
that. Okay.
And anybody that's under the age of 50 is a kid.
They're a child.
So, you know how that works. I say, oh, that kid, oh my God, he's 57 years old, or whatever.
He's 42. Well,
yeah, he's a kid.
I'm still old enough to be his father.
Yeah, exactly. So this sounds really fascinating, and the encounter with the Mothman sounds fascinating as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting turn. What made you want to go in that direction?
The Mothman direction?
Yeah.
Well, I've always had a fondness for cryptids. I mean, like I said, I'm a big horror movie fan, and I've seen out thousands of horror movies over the course of my life. And the only monster that still scares me to this day is Bigfoot.
Really?
Bigfoot movies terrify me. And so I've always just had kind of a fascination with cryptids. So Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and more recently, Mothman. And I was back visiting my family in Indiana, and I had a friend from high school named Walter. And we decided to take a little day trip to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where the whole Mothman thing happened, and there was a Mothman museum. So we decided to go and check it out, see the statue of it, and it was a nice little thing. And I just thought, well, if we're going to do a story about two boys being attacked by something, I didn't want them to be attacked by, a big-headed, black-eyed alien. I thought it should be something a little more, something that already had its roots set in reality, like
Right.
the Mothman did. And the Mothman isn't just a monster like Bigfoot. The Mothman has a rich history itself. It's tied in with UFOs, and it's tied in with the Men in Black, where the movies sprang from, because people who saw the Mothman were usually visited by these mysterious men in black who people would say they were pale and they wore sunglasses and they looked weird and wore black suits and stuff like that. So it's not just a monster. There's a whole world of things that kind of go with it. And I thought, well, let's tap into that, because we can have the men in black appear in the show. We can have the alien lights be in there, and we can ultimately have the Mothman as well. As opposed to something like if it was just like a Bigfoot, then it would just be the Bigfoot, banging on the car, or jumping in front of it, or something like that. Where as the Mothman, and since this is a show about aliens, ultimately, we can use the alien angle to tie it in.
Okay.
Cool.
I was wondering about that because I know little about Mothman. Growing up in California, our big monster was Sasquatch, or Bigfoot. So Mothman never really kind of creeped into our local pop culture. So that's why I don't know really much about him, and that's why I was really curious. But it really kind of makes sense. That's a really nice way of being able to tie the sci-fi and the horror element together.
Yeah, it was a good way for me to play with a show that, where I can put a monster in it, but also still ties into the whole alien concept.
Right. So I also noticed in the press release that we got and that we ran that it also said this is HereTV's first foray into the sci-fi genre thing.
Yeah,
So
I guess
think
it would be.
That's kind of neat. You're kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah.
For HereTV.
Yeah, they've got plenty of horror. I've watched it, but nothing on the sci-fi level. So this does make for a rather refreshing change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even though I'd say the sci-fi aspect is kind of light, it's certainly not. I don't know if I would say it's a sci-fi show, just other than the fact that we're dealing with aliens in every episode, because the focus is like on whatever the story's about. Like I said, the next one's going to be a comedy. The next one after that's going to be romantic drama. But it still has aliens, and it still has, something to do with them in it. So, yeah, it's peripherally sci-fi, but it's still going to be fun to play with that once in a while.
Exactly.
And yes, I'm aware of their horror things, too. My first introduction to here was watching Dante's Cove and The Lair.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah, I was. So now they're going into sci-fi, sci-fi / adjacent, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
You're helping them dip their toe into the genre, shall we say?
Yeah, I'm just really happy that the Gayliens can be added to that list of genre programming.
So, talking about go ahead.
No, I was saying, you go ahead.
I was talking about sci-fi. You were bringing up just before we started the interview here about some of your childhood fixations with sci-fi and specifically Doctor Who, which is very, very near and dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've been I was introduced to Doctor Who when I was in film school in Chicago.
Oh,
I
wow.
was living in a dorm, and a friend of ours said, "Oh, you need to watch Doctor Who." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I turned it on. This was the Baker years.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So Tom Baker was the first Doctor Who. So I started watching it, and I just loved the idea of it. I loved the whole idea of the time traveling TARDIS, if you can go anywhere in space and time you want, that's not always under his control. I love that he was kind of like a super intelligent Harpo Marx, if you will.
Yeah.
And I just started watching it. I think I kind of fell off during the Colin Baker years, but I did see a few of the Sylvester McCoy ones, and then when the American TV movie,
Oh, yeah.
Came out, I watched that, and then I kind of, got back into it, revisiting some old episodes, and then they started releasing them on VHS and DVD, and then when the new series started up, I started, watching it again. So, well, I've been a Doctor Who fan for quite some time.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
story about how when you were in university and a friend of yours, says, you need to come over and see it. That sounds way too much like my husband's experience.
Oh, yeah. There's some friends in high school in 1977. We all hung out together, and we were over at one of kind of the gathering place. It was his dad was a doctor, and they had this big, huge house with, big bedrooms, and so we were all over there, and they said, "You really have to stay for this and see Doctor Who." And I said, and then I was completely lost. But it was, what was that, Enemy Within? Or?
No. Your first one was The Invisible Enemy.
The Invisible Enemy, yeah. So that was way back in the Tom Baker years.
Well, even before that, when I was younger, I had seen the two Peter Cushing.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who movies.
Yeah, I saw those two.
I never connected them. I never really connected them to the show. So I was like, okay. I watched them. I'm like, all right, this is kind of dull.
Yeah.
So I never really pursued it until someone said, "Oh no, you need to watch the show."
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Baker is the doctor right now, and I watched them on a PBS channel. And what they would do is they would take all the shows and they would snip them to form them into basically feature film.
Right. Yeah.
So they would cut off, and you could sit down and watch it from beginning to end. And then you'd have the cliffhanger, but instead of going to credits, it would just go right to the beginning of the next episode seamlessly.
Yeah.
And that was a really good way to watch it.
Yeah.
So,
the local PBS station where I lived in California, KQED Channel 9, they did that every Saturday night, and it was a treat to be able to see it kind of, but you could only do that with like the Tom Baker. You couldn't do that with the later John Pertwee because they kept retweaking their cliffhangers and their openers. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, that was Channel 9 was my big intro. Robot, my very first Tom Baker, very first Doctor Who episode ever, and all I could think of was, what in the blazes am I watching here? This is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I stuck it out, and
my husband.
Go ahead.
My husband is a big science fiction fan. He likes Doctor Who, but he's also really into Star Trek and Star Wars and Dune and all that stuff. So my emphasis is more on horror, but his is more on sci-fi. But we complement each other pretty well.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way as with me and my husband. I mean, the sad thing when I was first introduced to Doctor Who is that they only did one episode a night. I mean, not a night, but a week. So like Wednesday night, we got part 1 of Robot. Next week, part 2 of Robot. And I kept thinking, how do people watch shows like this?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, it made me mental. In fact, I remember we got into the next full story, which is Ark in Space, and they gave us parts 5 and 6 in one night. And I was watching Doctor Who over my best friend's house, and Bill and I were like, we're getting 2 Doctor Who episodes in one night. I mean, it's like we were tap dancing. We were so happy. And I mean, I look back on that now and think, how silly must that seem? But yeah, that's how it was.
So what?
Well, given the nature of today's kind of like of streaming channels and binge watching shows, do you prefer watching like a new episode every week, or would you rather binge several in one setting?
Oh, that depends. That really depends. I mean, we just finished watching the series Severance on Apple TV, and there's something to be said about the anticipation about it coming up on a weekly basis. But then on the other hand,
it's like, my God.
I mean, yeah. On the other hand,
what the heck just happened? I have to know.
But then we also recently went through the first 2 seasons of The Witcher, and it was really cool being able to go next episode. Oh my God, I have to see where it goes next. Okay, well, it's only 9:30. Yeah, we can watch another episode. So there are merits in both cases, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It depends on the show. There are some shows. My husband and I like to watch this BBC show called Ghosts. I know there's an American version of it, but we prefer the BBC, and we like binge watching that. But then there was a show called with Steve Martin and Martin Short called Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
And watching that an episode a week was kind of fun because it gave you an opportunity to kind of digest what you just seen and think about the clues and see how that all played into what the next show is going to be. So I think I agree with you there.
So what is next besides this Gayliens series? Obviously you haven't shot all of them, or have you shot all of them at this point?
No, we've only done the first episode so far. We're getting ready to shoot 3 more. So that's kind of on the front of my plate right now, but I've got a couple more feature films in the planning stages. The one I'm really excited about is we're doing a remake of the old Dark House movie, The Cat and the Canary, based on the 1922 play.
Wow.
The murder mystery play. That's a genre of film that I've always loved, where people come to a big old dark house in the middle of the night, rain, thunder, lightning, and there's some kind of mystery going on. Several heirs come to a house to see who's inheriting the fortune, and then someone starts murdering them. It's something I've always really enjoyed. So I'm finally going to get a chance to do my own version of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
And,
that's an awesome genre. I will admit,
Yeah.
I've seen, and that's a fun one where you can play. You can either go pure horror, or you can even interject dark comedy onto that one too. It's a very fertile playground, so it's nice to see you going into that.
Yeah, and so thanks for taking the bait there on what you were going to be doing next.
Definitely got to be like it's definitely going to be like a murder mystery with like light comedic overtones. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Cool. So we're running up against the time, sadly, because I think there's a lot of conversation that's left to be had. But in the meantime, let me ask you this: is there any kind of social media or a website or something that people can follow you on and have a better understanding about what you're currently working on?
Well, probably the best thing they can do is I am on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Those are probably the three best ways to follow me and see what I'm doing.
And your ID on those?
Well, it's just my name, Mark Bessenger.
Okay.
Do a search, I should pop up. I think I'm the only Mark Bessenger in the United States. So
at least on Twitter and the social media. Anyway.
Yeah, and to
make sure you spell Bessenger right.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's spelled exactly how it sounds: Bessenger.
There we go. Well,
that's right.
This has really been a great
This has been fun
conversation. Thank you so much, Mark, for being on our show.
Oh, my pleasure. I had a good time talking, and you can't go wrong talking about Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Miguel Rodriguez, director of the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks podcast.
That was such a great conversation.
It was.
With Mark. I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common with he and his husband.
Yeah, I know.
Just,
it was
including the number of years we've been together.
Yeah, it was most tickling.
It was very interesting. Well, we have a few selected birthdays for April the 11th through April the 17th, 2022. April 11th, James Parkinson, English surgeon, geologist, paleontologist, and political activist.
My goodness.
Yes. He was a strong proponent for the underprivileged in the UK or England at that point, London, mostly where he lived, and was also an ardent supporter of public health. And that's what he spent his doctoring years, shall we say, doing, is seeing after the public health, not just those that were underprivileged, but the public health in general. And in 1817, he wrote an essay on the shaking palsy, which was eventually renamed Parkinson's disease. Some 60 years later, he died in 1824. So
wow.
that tells you it goes way back. Oleg Cassini, fashion designer who came to America and found fame at Paramount Studios, had quite a few of his designs in really popular movies in the 40s and the 50s, and then came to the attention of Jacqueline Kennedy, who he became her exclusive couturier and dubbed him her Secretary of Style.
Okay.
So it's that look. And there was a photo on his Wikipedia page that had Joan Fontaine and Mommy Dearest. Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford, yeah.
In the same photo, and they were dressed in a couple of his outfits, obviously, and it just his style was, very recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we have Facebook friend of ours, Donald Scott Messi. April 12th, Lily Pons, opera singer, born in 1898.
Good heavens.
Yep. She had an active career from the 20s through the 1970s.
Yes, I remember.
Sang forever. She sang at the Met from 1931 to 1960.
That's a long career at the Met.
Exactly, and was known for her bell-like quality and agility in the higher register. So that was her big claim to fame. And then we have Montserrat Caballere, who is opera singer from Spain, who is the diva herself.
Oh,
shall we say, the lungs of iron.
The iron lungs.
Yes, and was a friend of Freddie Mercury and did several
Yes, yeah. Well,
with
Freddie idolized her, and I think he saw her perform opera once and was just utterly enamored and wanted to work with her, and she inspired him to improve on his singing technique.
Yep.
So, yeah, and what they recorded, the number Barcelona for the Olympics is just stunning.
Yep. And then, speaking of opera singers, a friend of ours, Stephen Gardner.
Stephen Gardner. Happy birthday, Stephen.
April 13th, Ron Pearlman, actor. Man, what a career. I mean, he goes way, way back, you know.
You could, in a way, he's almost like the modern day Lon Chaney.
Yeah, he did. Well, I had a correction, auto-correction. He was in Bellboy.
Bellboy? Yeah, that's a stretch for him.
Exactly.
That's a big stretch for his acting career.
Hellboy and Vincent from Beauty and the Beast were two of his really popular roles. And he's constantly working in a wide variety of characters. In fact, there's a line in his IMDb bio that says he's played everything from a ape-like chieftain,
right,
to an aging transsexual.
I've not seen that one.
It's like he's done everything.
I have not seen that last one. I would like to very much.
And he won't do anything that he doesn't like or it doesn't speak to him. So he's very choosy. He's not, the big box office draw, but he's always a fan favorite.
He is. That's a good way to put it. Fan favorite, but whenever he performs as a person, as a human, like he did in, there was this, I can't think of the name of the movie now. Some robot movie fighting monsters. I can't remember the name of it anymore. It was a Guillermo del Toro film.
Robots versus Monsters.
No, that's not it.
No?
It was a Guillermo del Toro film. Anyway, he had a supporting role in that as some sort of a gangster kind of figure. And he talked about how nobody knows who he is when they see him on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. He was actually, this is a little piece of trivia, he was supposed to play the role of Elvis Presley in Baba Nosferatu, the Curse of the She-Vampires, when Bruce Campbell declined to be in it. Sadly, it was never made.
That is...
I would love to have seen that one.
Yeah, that is
Bubba Hotep was crazy enough.
Yeah, I'm desperate trying to... I got to know what that movie is that I'm trying to think of, and it's driving me crazy. I can't think of it now.
Is a very loud proponent of equality and the LGBT community.
Oh, yeah.
And was recently in the news ranting against a certain politician, calling him everything but, a person. So he's really a great actor.
Yeah.
And then we have
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, yes. Oh, that was him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Davison, actor, British TV actor who became Doctor Who the Fifth, and then back to regular British TV. It's just, he's just continued to work. Is the father-in-law of David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. April 14th, Peter Capaldi.
Wow.
Another staple of British TV. He's 11th or 12th Doctor.
Oh, my
who knows?
Goodness gracious.
Do you count Paul McGann and John Hurt?
Well, yeah, yeah, you do now.
It makes him the 27th Doctor.
Something
then,
like that. Yeah. Yeah, he's really way down the list.
Yep. And was in a punk rock band with Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
And
I want footage of that band.
Exactly. Claire Coffey, actress, Mostly known for Grimm as Adelaide
Oh, yeah.
Shade. Did 170 episodes of General Hospital, though, before she
I
did
didn't
Grimm.
know that.
Yeah. Has family here in the Valley.
Yeah, I remember we got to interview her when
Yep,
we were working
back
for
in the
Slice,
Slice, yep.
and wow, what a treat that was.
It really was.
We almost convinced her to come out to Phoenix Comic-Con.
Exactly. And then we have friend of ours, Worthy Paul Meacham, a.k.a. Mama in L.A.
Happy birthday.
And a former classmate of mine, Chris James. April 15th, Marcella Hazan, cookbook writer. She was the doyen of Italian cuisine, according to some chefs. I have her Essentials of Classic Italian Cooking, which Brendan turned me on to. It's like a revelation on almost every single page. And I thought I knew how to cook.
Well, there you are.
I learned something almost every single page, and I have adopted one of her maxims, that is, cooking food for other people is a language of love. And she breaks things down into steps and reasons why you do certain things with certain foods and what you do in a specific order and why. So
She's
produce
kind of
those-
going into the science of it.
Yeah, well, she was a biologist.
Wow.
She taught biology.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep. Glenn Shaddix, actor and voice artist, primarily a voiceover specialist, appeared in Beetlejuice as Otho.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And another memorable part was he is the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Really?
Yes.
I did not I wasn't able to, piece those voices together.
Oh,
okay.
Well, he's just a master of twisting his voice to do just a little bit of everything. April 16th, Sean Mayer, actor, still mostly known for Firefly, but has been working regularly since. He and his husband, Paul, have 2 children. And we met him at...
Twice.
WhedonCon.
Met him at WhedonCon, and first time we met him was here in Phoenix.
Yep. Peter Yustanov, actor with a long and illustrious career. Death on the Nile, the original, I thought he was great in that. Of course, Peter Yustanov is just great, period.
Oh, he is.
Spoke multiple languages and was the quote-unquote host of a wonderful DVD production of Mozart's Così fan tutte.
Yes.
Performed by a German puppeteer company, and it was delightful. I mean, it just was. And we saw 2 performances of that same opera last night.
Yes, we did.
The night before at Arizona Opera. Jerry Rafferty, musician, known for having sung Stuck in the Middle with You and Baker Street.
That's the one that I know.
Yeah. You don't know Stuck in the Middle with You?
I'm
stuck in the middle with you. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the
Oh,
right.
okay. I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah.
The one that I know is Baker Street. I mean,
Yeah.
that one. It's like every time I turn on the classic rock radio, there it was.
Yep. And is also the composer of the music for Grace and Frankie.
Oh, that I did not know.
Yeah. And then we have friends of ours, Jenny Stang and Ben Calamer. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
April 17th, David Bradley, actor. Harry Potter as Mr. Filch and as a replacement for William Hartnell.
Let's see. He replaced William Hartnell, who was replaced by Richard Herndahl, who's now replaced by David Bradley.
Yes.
And that came about, I think, that was sort of a fan response because he originally played William Hartnell.
Right.
And he did such a great job of it. I think there was this big lobbying to see him return as the first Doctor, and he got to do that in sort of it was the regeneration episode for Peter Capaldi, and it kind of takes place just right around the episode of the 10th Planet, and he's come back and done a number of Big Finish stories as the first Doctor, so I couldn't be happier.
And a very busy actor working in British TV. Don Kirshner, the man with the golden ear.
The man who helped put Kansas on the map. And I'm not talking the state, I'm
Exactly.
talking the band.
Producer, publisher, talent manager for some of the big names in the industry. The Monkees, Archies, and Kansas, to name a few. And then we have a friend of ours, Andrea Dean Van Skoyak. She's written a couple of things for the website. And Bruce Dell, who was the director of Finding Buchanan, which I still love that
Great
film.
movie.
It's just a great film.
Great movie.
And then a good friend of ours from back in the Slice days, Sam Roberts.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to all. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Hi, this is Kevin,
And this is Jason.
and we're the co-hosts of The Bright Side with Kevin and Jason, your weekly comedy about tragedy.
Every week, I teach Kevin about some tragic event in history, and then we find the bright side to it.
And every week, I learn from Jason something I wish I never knew.
You can find our podcast anywhere you find podcasts.
That's The Bright Side with Kevin and Jason, your weekly comedy about tragedy.
Go give a listen to our friends,
Jason and Kevin.
Jason and Kevin. I'm so accustomed to saying Chuck and Craig. Jason and Kevin at the Bright Side Podcast. And you can always listen to something new, something different.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
As always, we want to give a shout out to the Joshua Tree Feeding Program, a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. They set it up like a store. The clients come in, they pick and choose what they want, so nothing's wasted. They're an all-volunteer organization, and they could certainly use your help. If you want to give a single gift or a monthly recurring gift, go to jtfp.org.
And it's time for our feedback. These are comments that we received in response to articles and episodes that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com. And the links for each of these articles that generated this feedback will be in the show notes for this episode, article number 373 at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding body horror short Stitches will make you unravel at the seams. We got a comment from On Stream Productions saying, we seriously considered putting a viewer discretion on Stitches. Thanks for the TG Squared Studios, how they did that for us. And got a further comment from Colin McDonald, who was the creator of that short film, saying TG Squared Studios says, watch Stitches at your own risk. I think it's a risk worth taking. Thank you for the support again. You were super helpful with the last one, Hangnail. Really appreciate helping spread the word for Stitches.
And it was a great chat with Colin as well.
It was a great conversation with Colin. He was awesome. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 368, we had a little opera conversation on that one because we'd seen A Little Night Music. So we talked a little bit about that. And we got a comment from Arizona Opera saying, thanks to TG Geeks at TG Squared Studios for attending our Phoenix run of A Little Night Music. And thank you for sharing our upcoming launch of Carmen, the graphic novel, and re-release of the Copper Queen film. Our pleasure.
Yes.
Moving on, regarding Breaking Glass Pictures releases Jump Darling, starring Cloris Leachman. Got a comment from Hamish Downey who says, this looks like an excellent movie. It does make me feel like, now why didn't I think of that? And we close off with, regarding Hamish Downey's 5 questions with Anthony Aguiar. And we got a comment from Anthony Aguiar on Instagram who says, thanks. And that is our feedback.
And if you want to leave a comment on anything that we published, whether it be on the website or one of our episodes, you can do that at tggeeks.com. You can comment on our Facebook page or our Twitter page or our Instagram page, or if it is on an episode only, our YouTube episodes. We also have a listener feedback line. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, please, 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 that would be lovely. We would play that on air, and then you can be famous like us. Or not.
Yeah.
You can call 469-TG Geeks. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to Comcast and NBC Universal for that promo. We want to shout out to the independent creators among the whole community. If you know of any independent creators, whether it's comic book writers, filmmakers, artists, or others, you can chat them up, chat other people up about them, buy their stuff, take a look at their websites, buy their stuff. Talk to people about them, chat them up about their stuff that you've just bought, and buy their stuff.
Yes.
Support independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well,
as you mentioned earlier,
yes, we saw Così fan tutte, which is Mozart's opera about the school for lovers. It's actually
that's a better title for it.
It's translated as "Women Are Like That."
Yeah, it's not a flattering opera.
It really should be "Men Are Pigs."
You know, and if we recommend that you listen to episode 371, where we interviewed the director, E. Lauren Meeker, on that one. She was the director behind this production of Così fan tutte, and she tried to work a way to make it more relevant for the 21st century. I thought she did a good job of it, but especially as we get to the end, you saw through just the way she placed her characters, or Mozart's characters in this opera. She plays. There's a certain moment where she puts them on the stage, and it changed the entire dynamic.
Yeah,
it totally changed the narrative, which I was very happy about.
Yeah, it was a great production. We saw Friday and Saturday night. Saturday night, Caitlin Gardner, who sang Fiordiligi on Friday night on the opener, sang again Saturday night.
Yeah, she was supposed to have Saturday night off, but the soprano who was supposed to sing the role on Saturday could not.
But it's like, oh my God,
she was amazing.
She was amazing. She was better.
Saturday
night than she was on Friday night.
We talked to somebody during intermission, and he said he thinks it might have been opening night jitters for her, which is possible because she was
fabulous.
She was so great.
And
Saturday night,
the production is one of Mozart's finest examples of ensemble singing, and there's arias, there's duets, and there's ensembles, and all comes together, and the voices were incredible. The physical comedy in this, because the plot is absurd.
It is
absolutely
it's
absurd.
It's a bit madcap,
and then they played with that. It's just little hints and little things like this stupid coat hanger that swings during this whole duet.
Yeah,
the two ladies are singing. It's like, oh my God, it drove me crazy, but that was intended. So there was other little bits of physical comedy that were done, and I thought it was just a fabulous production.
It was delightful. A great way to close out the season.
Yep, for a 50th anniversary season. Great ending to it. So join us next year for
next season
for Arizona Opera's 51st season. There's some great operas. There's The Rising and the Falling.
That'll be very interesting.
Yeah, it's about loss and healing of war veterans.
Yeah.
Then we have Ariadne of Naxos.
Oh, so excited about that.
One of my favorite operas. Then we have Tosca.
Yeah, and another one that is just gorgeous.
And then they're doing The Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. That should be interesting.
They're doing some things. It's the Modern Masterwork series that's sponsored by Scott Stallard and Marlu Allen. And they wanted to bring in some like American.
You could call it American opera. You know,
early days.
You're talking Sound of Music. You know, a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yep, exactly.
Would be qualified in my mind as American opera.
And then they close the season with
another Mozart fabulous
is the Magic
Flute. Yeah.
So join us next season. Tickets are available. Season tickets are available, and they're reasonable.
They are
truly reasonable. So check it out.
And it's time for our weekly review. These are items that we ran on our website this past week at tggeeks.com, and the links for these will also be in the show notes for this episode article number 373 that you can find at tggeeks.com, starting with Sunday, April 3rd, Nerdy Chupacabras number 94.
That's 90. Not the new
Nerdy. No,
new
you said it.
Chupacabras?
You said it, not me.
Number 94.
Number 94.
That's amazing.
I know, closing in on 100. On Monday the 4th, TG Geeks episode number 372. On Tuesday the 5th, Ben's Breakdown First Contact Day. I kind of wanted to explain what my thoughts were about First Contact Day. That is our Star Trek holiday.
It is.
And then on Wednesday the 6th, Andrea's Angle, Ambulance. Skimpy plot, dizzying action. On Thursday the 7th, Andrea's Angle, All the Old Knives, sizzling intrigue. On Friday the 8th, Hamish Down East 5, more questions with Sean Patrick Murtaugh. And then on Saturday the 9th, Gayliens, now streaming on HereTV.
Do we know anything about that?
Nothing. Not a thing. Never heard of it. We have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to Brian Weber. He's also known as Arkle, good friend of ours on the show. You can find him on Twitter as Geek of All Trades. He's referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. And he has his Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, which does republish some of our content from time to time, which is why we give him a shout-out. If you want to find the Post-Dispatch News, go to Twitter and look for Geek of All Trades. That's at Geek, the letter G, the number 3, the K of All Trades, Geek of All Trades. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Arkle Studios. He has a number of projects there, which include his Shameless Cash Grab series, which is in season 7, his Rants vs. Zombie series. It has officially ended, but past episodes are still available. He also has Arkle Tier Ranks, as well as game videos of Trick and Treat and Star Trek Online. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. We have to thank their moderators for saying that we could share away our content there. And their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek, for also allowing us to share all of our glorious stuff there. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio from 3 a.m. at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays for a replay. Listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station, and we want to thank Gene for allowing us to be on their platform. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. Studios, yes, Tute. I was thinking of Cozy Fan Tute. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I was going to say there's still tickets available in Tucson for Cozy Fun Tute next weekend. And that's how I got studio. Anyway, here we go with the outro music.
Right.
Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.